So it's been a few days now that we've played with the new iOS 27 and the brand new Siri AI, and the early outlook is very positive in terms of we finally got what Apple promised us up to 2 years ago. But one of the biggest questions I keep getting is, will my device get the new Siri AI? And while it might be a simple question, the answer is pretty complicated, and I wanted to break this down in this video because there's some good news in terms of Apple is supporting a device that's 7 years old with iOS 27, but there's some iffy news in terms of Siri is a little bit tiered, and depending on which phone you have will determine how good your Siri is going to be. So let's break everything down. This is your one-stop shop to figure out what Siri you're getting come the fall. Let's get into it. But now if you guys do enjoy videos like this one, consider subscribing to the channel and help us get to 1 million subscribers by the end of the year. But now let's talk about who's getting what. Okay, so let's start off simple here and talk about the good with the iOS 27 update in terms of supported devices. So if you have an iPhone 11 or newer, as well as the iPhone SE 2nd gen or newer, you will be getting iOS 27. The iPhone 11 is a 7-year-old iPhone that's still now getting a major iOS update. Sometimes Apple takes those older phones and just does security updates, so the fact that we're getting a full-on iOS 27 update on the iPhone 11 is fantastic news for those users, and from what I hear, it's making the phone extremely snappier, much faster, makes it feel a little bit more modern, and kind of takes all the liquid glassiness that slowed it down with iOS 26 and brings it back to normal standards or even better at that point. So it's great that the iPhone 11 and newer is getting iOS 27. But of course, you know that those iPhones do not get Siri because of how old they are, and we were already told that the iPhone 15 Pro or newer is what's going to give us the new Siri AI. But before we get into the rest of Siri, I do also want to mention that there will be some iPads getting iPadOS 27 that don't support Siri AI. For example, the standard iPad, the 9th gen version, will get iPadOS 27, as well as the iPad mini 6th generation will support the iPadOS 27 update. So if you do have those, at least you are getting the newest version of iPadOS 27 for stability and overall updates, which is fantastic to see. So these devices are going to get all the non-Siri related updates. So for example, the new design refinements that Apple mentioned, messages improvements, wallet updates, the phone app changes, CarPlay improvements, security updates, and of course all the accessibility features. But they will be missing out on the new Siri AI, which is now where things are going to get a lot more nuanced and a lot more complicated, because some phones were built from the ground up for Siri AI, but they're not going to be getting the same Siri that the iPhone 17 Pro is getting. So let's break that down. So first, in terms of iPhones that support any version of Siri AI, you're going to be using an iPhone 15 Pro or newer. So that hasn't changed. You get the entire iPhone 16 lineup, including the 16e, as well as, of course, the entire iPhone 17 lineup. They will be getting Siri AI. And then for iPads that are getting Siri AI, you do have a big selection. So it's any iPad that has an Apple Silicon M1 chip or newer, as well as the A17 Pro iPad mini. So that will be getting Siri AI. Again, it's a little bit nuanced and it's going to be tiered, which we'll touch on in a second. And then when it comes to macOS, every single Mac that has an M-powered chip in it, even the M1 MacBook Air, will be getting some version of Siri AI. And the only non-M-powered Mac is going to be the MacBook Neo that will also get Siri AI because that runs the A18 Pro chip. And then when you have an Apple Watch that's paired to a Siri AI enabled device, the Apple Watches that will be supporting this is the Apple Watch SE 3, the Apple Watch Series 9 and newer, as well as the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and newer. So I'm just barely making that cutoff with my Apple Watch Ultra 2. And then of course for us Vision Pro users, all Vision Pros will be able to use the new Siri AI, both the M5 version and the M2 version. And then like I said, there's going to be kind of a tiered system. Now this isn't a formal tiered system that Apple has announced or anything like that, but what I've noticed in terms of what Siri is going to be able to do on certain devices is broken down into some tiers that I've kind of wanted to point out to everybody. So for instance, Apple did mention in their keynote that in order to get the best on-device models, you need to have the latest iPhone 17 Pro, which is kind of unfortunate, especially when Apple said that the iPhone 16 lineup was built from the ground up for Apple Intelligence. There's a whole lawsuit about that already, so I don't want to get too much into that. But when it comes to the first tier, these are iPhones that can run Apple Siri AI, but they rely much more heavily on private cloud compute. So all of these iPhones in this tier, which is going to be the iPhone 15 Pro, Pro Max, the entire iPhone 16 lineup, the base iPhone 17, and the iPhone 17e, these all have 8 gigs of RAM. So they do send off a lot more prompts, a lot more queries, a lot more situations to this private cloud compute, which means things are going to take a little bit longer to send from your phone to that server, figure out exactly what it's doing there, and then come back to your phone with whatever answer that you need. The iPads that are going to support this form of Siri AI is going to be any M1, M2, and M3 powered iPad, and then on the Mac side, M1 and M2 powered Macs will also get this form of Siri. But in terms of actual functional differences and capabilities, you aren't losing anything that you can't really do. It's just going to take a little longer, and things are going to be just slower overall because a lot less things are happening on device and they're being sent out to the private cloud compute in order to get done. But you'll still get the dedicated Siri app, you're going to get the conversational Siri, the app actions, the personal context, all the on-screen awareness, third-party AI extensions, the conversation history and syncing across all the Siri app devices, and of course the Google-powered world knowledge or the broad knowledge that Apple partnered with Google Gemini to get this done with. So the biggest difference here is that more requests are happening in the cloud versus on your device for those specific devices that I mentioned. And then we get into the much newer hardware that Apple's been releasing over the last year or so, and this is what's getting the new, more powerful on-device model for Siri AI. So again, the iPhone Air, 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max. Then you have the iPad. You need an M4 iPad or newer to run this form of Siri. It needs to have 12 gigs of RAM or more. So I have an M4 iPad Pro with 1 terabyte of storage, which means I have 16 gigs of RAM. If I had the M4 iPad Pro, the entry-level one that only had 8 gigs of RAM, I would not be getting this new on-device Siri. And then same thing goes with the Macs. If you have an M3 powered MacBook that has at least 12 gigs of RAM, which is most of them, there are models that still have 8 gigs of RAM, but if you have at least 12 gigs of RAM, you will get this new on-device Siri. But if you have an M3 MacBook Air with only 8 gigs of RAM, you'll be defaulted back down to the quote-unquote lesser Siri. Again, it's not going to be a huge difference, but it is something to take into consideration here. But why this does matter is because these devices process more requests locally on device. They're going to be much faster in response time. You're going to get better privacy overall. I know that Apple's been stating that whatever goes into the cloud, nobody can get into it. Apple doesn't even know what's getting into it. And if you want to break down on exactly how that all works and really want me to get into the nuance of it all, I can definitely speak about that for a long time. So comment down below if you want to see something like that. But if things happen on your device, by nature, it's going to be more privacy centric. You're also going to be much less reliant on servers, better offline capabilities, and your latency is going to be much, much less compared to an iPhone that's sending things off to the cloud every single query. And the only functional or visible difference that you can actually do something differently on your phone with Siri on these new on-device models is that you can customize a Siri voice pretty intensely, right? You can change the pace, the expressivity, the accent. You can change a lot of it and you can kind of customize it to however you see fit. Those features do not come to the lesser Siri that you get on something like maybe an iPhone 16 Pro. And then lastly, in terms of support, I do want to mention the Apple Watches because it's kind of interesting since Apple Siri AI isn't running locally on the Apple Watch. You know, it just doesn't have enough compute in there to get that done. It really just depends on which iPhone you're paired to. So for instance, if you have a brand new Apple Watch Ultra 3 that's paired to an iPhone 11, that Apple Watch Ultra will not get any Siri capabilities. But if you have an Apple Watch Ultra 2 paired to an iPhone 17 Pro Max, you'll get all the latest and greatest from a Siri interaction standpoint on your wrist. So again, it's all based on which iPhone you're paired to. And then the final thing I want to mention, which is still very abstract as of how it stands and how Apple's going to handle this, is that Apple mentioned very briefly in their keynote, if you guys remember, Craig Federighi said that some of their AI models, especially when it comes to image generation, will accrue some sort of cap at the end of it. Because again, image generation probably takes a lot of power, a lot of compute. That happens all in the cloud and on their servers. That costs money, right?
Some features, including image generation, have daily usage limits because they rely on powerful server models.
Right? That's why things like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude, and they're all getting more and more expensive because there's so much generation happening, especially from an image and video standpoint. I mean, think about how much energy is needed, how much compute is needed for those things. It's one thing to just have text prompts, to just even have voice prompts. That's very low level and low hanging fruit. But if you start image generating, if you start making video generations, if you start creating things out of nowhere, that takes a lot of power, it takes a lot of compute, and that's going to end up costing or at least capping to some extent. So in your mind, if you're doing anything that revolves around image generation, so think about image playgrounds, maybe the new extend feature or the new reframe feature inside the new Photos application, and even the new home feature where you can look at video and have Siri AI kind of search it for you based on text prompts and things like that, that all is going to require a lot of power. So those things fall under the image generation situation, meaning that it's going to be capped to a certain extent, and that's all going to be based off your iCloud subscription. So that is where Apple's moving their AI subscription into. iCloud started as just a storage subscription, then they added a bunch more features as it went on with private relay, private cloud, the .meet, like they added a bunch of different features in there. And now they're going to be adding this into iCloud Plus in terms of how much Siri you can use from an image generation standpoint. So depending on which tier of iCloud Plus you have, you'll have more daily generations, higher limits, and just a better overall experience versus somebody who doesn't have an iCloud Plus subscription at all. So that is a complete breakdown of Siri AI, as well as the supported devices that get Siri, and also the supported devices that are getting the new iOS update and the differences between them. It's a tiered system, the nuance is there. You have your kind of tier 1 with Siri AI, you have your tier 2, which is the on-device models, and then you have your iCloud Plus model. So there's a lot to learn here, and it's still very abstract, especially on the iCloud Plus side. Apple hasn't said how much they're going to cost, what those daily usage limits are going to be. I think they're using this beta period to figure out how much people are going to be using it, and then eventually how much they're going to end up charging people moving forward. But let's see exactly how this goes. Let me know in the comment down below what you think. Do you have a device that will be running the new Siri AI? Have you installed the beta? Have you been playing with the new Siri? What's your favorite thing about it? What's still missing from it? Curious to know your thoughts on this, but that'll do it for this video. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin. If you guys want to watch more content like this, check out one of these videos right here. Until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace.